Hey there, everybody. It's Michaela from Ascend Smarter Intervention, where we make research-based reading intervention easy. I'm so excited to welcome you to part 4 of our data tracking series today, all about reporting your data and findings from your literacy intervention sessions. Now, if you haven't seen parts 1, 2, or 3 of our data tracking series yet, I'll be sure to link them below so you can check them out as well. Now, reporting on your data and findings is what I like to say the missing piece of our data tracking process and system so often in this field. It is so important that we're not just taking data and analyzing data, but today we're going to talk about why it's a critical step to also report your data. Now, in order to help you do this, we do have a free resource for you that I'll get to at the end of this presentation, so stay tuned for that. Before we can talk about why reporting your data is important or how to do so, I want to take a minute and address some of the mistakes that we see happen quite often in this field, including mistakes that we and as a team and on our team have made ourselves as well. The biggest mistake that we're seeing is folks waiting for a progress monitoring report or a formal meeting to share their data. So this could look like an IEP meeting, or it could look like a 6-month or a yearly progress report. But they're waiting until that point to talk with the students' families or their administrators or colleagues about the data that we're seeing our students make and we're tracking every week. We can't wait for a progress monitoring report, and I'll talk about why in a second. The other mistakes that we're seeing is that we're only sharing assessment data. And while we are huge fans of assessment data here, we use them for our evaluations, and we do take standardized measure or offer standardized assessments to track those data points as well with our students every 6 months to every year. We don't just share those with the family. We want to be talking about how they're performing in their daily or weekly sessions as well. So that's another mistake we see, is only sharing the assessment data and not the consistent daily or weekly data as well. And the last mistake is something that Corey addressed in part 3 last week, but that's when we make our data personal. Now, we love working with our kids, and I think if you've stuck with me so far in this video, you're here because you really want to do what's best for your students as well. So it can be hard to take that step back and not make data personal to us, but we need to. Data is not a personal reflection of us and our worth as an instructor. It's just information that indicates to us what we need to tweak or adjust to get students the best results that we can. If a student makes fantastic growth, that's awesome. If they don't make growth, that's okay. We need to adjust and we'll move forward from there. But neither of those points are any indication of our worth as an instructor. So we need to remember that too. So moving into the bottom line here of what we need to be doing and what we should be doing with our data is we need to be sharing it consistently. We see that the most effective and simultaneously the least stressed interventionists are those that have a system that allows them to easily share data consistently, whether that's seeing students every day or every week. We share all of that data with families. The reason we do this is because sharing data builds authority and credibility. So this allows families and the administrators and supervisors and colleagues and everybody that we lovingly call stakeholders, or those that have a vested interest in our students' growth, it allows us all to be on the same page and know what's going on. And it helps us take that stand as the interventionist and say, this is what's going on, this is the data I've tracked, this is what I'm seeing, this is what we need to do moving forward. It helps everyone understand why you're making the decisions you are in your intervention sessions, as long as your decisions are intervention and data-based. If you have questions about that, check out part 3 that Corey posted last week, all about analyzing your data. But it helps everyone understand what's happening from the basic level of today we went through the CK phonogram to a much more in-depth level saying that today Johnny had 80% for his reading fluency accuracy or reading accuracy at the single syllable word level, into that much more specific data as well. It gets everyone on the same page and seeing the same things. The benefits of this is that it's less pressure on you. While sharing data can be a little intimidating at first because of that mistake where we make it personal about us, if we're consistently sharing that data, it takes the pressure off because all of those stakeholders, the parents, the families, the administrators, the supervisors, they can see that you are tracking data based on students' behavior and what they're doing and the answers that they're giving and making decisions from there. It also ensures that there's no surprises when it comes time for progress monitoring, both for you, because if you're tracking the data and reporting on it, it should be top of mind and allowing you to pull activities that fit the student and will help them make growth. But it also allows for no surprises for the family or your supervisors when you have to report on that formal progress monitoring data. If we're consistently seeing a score that's lower, whether that's reading comprehension or writing or phonological awareness, if we're consistently reporting on that, it allows everyone to kind of keep that in mind and see what we can be doing to really support the student in that area. Again, for more information on how to analyze that data and make decisions week to week, check out part 3, Analyzing Your Data, which I'll link below. Again, the benefit here is it keeps everyone on the same page. We never want to have an interventionist on one island and the family on another going back and forth. We want everyone to come at this from a collaborative effort, so keeping everyone informed is necessary for that. If we don't share our data, we're opening ourselves up to so much more stress than we want or need. If we're not sharing our data, that's when we're getting more emails from families wondering what happened today, or how is my student doing, or what's going on in your lessons. We get more questions from the families, from the students, from the administration, or the administrators and supervisors. They may be voicing more concerns because they haven't seen how their child is doing and what's going on. And while you may know that your student is making great growth, they've been growing each week, they're answering with more accuracy and confidence, when all of these questions are coming through, not only does that give you more things to worry about because you have to answer the emails and address the questions, but nobody likes to feel that people are doubting them. Nobody wants their student's family to feel like they don't know what's going on. You don't want them doubting you as the interventionist. And on top of that, we don't want them to be doubting us, but we don't want to doubt ourselves either. By sharing this data consistently, it reduces that confusion, it reduces that doubt, and it allows for an open conversation so that everyone is on that same page, working together to know that the student is making growth in the way that we need them to be. So, how on earth do we do this without spending a ton of time? Because we all know in this field, we are never not busy. Double negative there for effect. We are always busy here. We need to be able to do this quickly and efficiently. So the way I do this is I'm tracking data in every single session, and this is how our team does it here at Ascend Smarter Intervention in our private practice as well. Whether it's in an online template like this that you see in the video, or it's on paper with data tracking sheets. In every lesson, we're tracking students to see how they're doing. We're setting up our data tracking sheets to make sure we're getting our student from their original goal, and we're using activities to get them to that goal. And then I run through all of that information with families. So at the end of a lesson, I'll pull up the data tracking sheet and say, today, Johnny had 80% accuracy for phonological awareness. He erred in phoneme segmenting and phoneme blending. Or I might say that he had 58 words per minute, but only 54 correct words per minute. He really struggled with suffixes today. And I'll run through all of those scores as well as any observational notes that I have, as you can see on the video here. So the scores come from the table up top, and then the observational data comes from my notes at the bottom. Or if I'm using printed sheets, I'm tracking that on there as well. And I'm letting families know what happened in that session and how our students are tracking, whether that's they had 100% or they had 0%. We're always sharing that data to make sure that everyone's on the same page. Now, I see students typically one-on-one, so I have 5 minutes at the end of every session that I can be talking to the family, either in person if I'm seeing them in our office or via Zoom if we're on the computer. If you're in a group, it may not be as easy to do that because you have multiple students. So what we recommend is taking your data tracking sheets, saving it as a PDF and sending it to the families so they can see week to week how their students are doing, and they can see those scores over time to know how students are doing. Now, I said at the beginning, I do have a freebie for you today. So in the description below, we do have this electronic version of our data tracking, as well as our goals and print data tracking sheets for you. So definitely download that. There are instructions in there on how to use it more specifically, but we hope that this will allow you to take the data in your lessons, but it'll also help you report on that data to all of those stakeholders after each lesson or on a consistent basis as well. So before we wrap up today, I do want to reiterate, data is not a reflection of you as an instructor. If your student comes in and you have to report they had a 0% one day, that does not mean that you were a bad instructor that day. It means that something about that activity was hard for them and we need to make an adjustment. We share this data for the benefit of the student, not as a factor of our own worth as interventionists. We need to break that tie there because data is just information. It is not a positive or negative reflection of us. It is not a positive or negative reflection of you. It is just information. Now, it is crucial information and stuff that we should be using, but not using to indicate our self-worth. We use it to inform our instruction, to tweak and make adjustments as needed so that we can be the best interventionists and offering the most helpful activities for our students to get them results. So go ahead to our description and grab our free data tracking system so that you have everything you need to easily track and report on the student data. Let us know in the comments if you have any questions. We'd love to open up this conversation and chat with you more. And as always, please subscribe if you liked this video so that you can see all of the videos that we post and get more information to help in your intervention. And we hope you have a fantastic day. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you soon.